Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Want to do a quick video on yesterday's winner of the Masters, Danny Willett. Some very interesting things here I would like to share with you. After he won, CBS gave us this stat: second Englishman to win the Masters, joining Nick Faldo. Nick Faldo is one of three men to win the Masters in back-to-back years. Those people are Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and most recently Nick Faldo himself. Danny Willett's win upset Jordan Spieth, who nearly won again this year after winning last year. He would have been the fourth man to win in back-to-back years. Danny Willett became the eighth player to win the Masters in two or fewer starts, the fourth European player to win first major at the Masters. Each year in the PGA Tour, there are four majors. The Masters is the first of four. The headline after he won from ESPN shows Willett wins Masters after Spieth's collapse. And if you followed the Masters at all, you saw that ESPN was telling the story of it through Spieth. Every day after shooting his 18 holes, they would have him do a review of the holes, what was going on in the tournament. It was the Jordan Spieth show. This young phenom golfer, someone that will probably be marketed for many years to come. So anyhow, Danny Willett had some serious connections to the tournament. I didn't do any research on Danny Willett because, to be truthfully honest, I've never even heard of the guy before. I'm not someone who follows golf. I think the last time I watched golf on TV, I was in high school, and Tiger Woods was still a young man. So anyhow, let's get into what's interesting. If you watched my preview video on the Masters, which I have linked down in the description, I talked about the significance of the number 76. The word master equals 76. The name Daniel John Willett, Danny Willett's birth name, sums to 76. The name Woods equals 76. Think about how in golf you use your woods to drive the ball, something I always found interesting in light of the name Tiger Woods. With regards to Tiger, the name Tiger has gematria 59, just like the word Negro, like the word slave, like the word blues. Motown Records came out in 59. All throughout history, the number 59 has been stamped on black people in the United States and abroad. And when Tiger Woods was coming up, there were a lot of mainstream narratives about the racism in the history of golf. So many golf courses, whites only, no blacks allowed. Tiger Woods breaking racial barriers by becoming the golf star that he was in the 90s. The name Danny Willett, gematria 51, the conspiracy number. I noticed ESPN all throughout the day yesterday on their timestamps was showing the number 51 on Spieth. A lot of people thought his collapse was very interesting, having the quadruple bogey late in the day to make this possible. The name Danny Willett also has gematria of 159, just like Horton Smith, the winner of the first ever Masters. We'll talk more about Horton Smith in a moment. But what stands out most of all is that the name Willett has gematria of 101. He won on April 10th, which was the 101st day of 2016. He got the green jacket put on him on the 101st day of the year, fitting for the name Willett. Truth Seeker, what I wish is that I had a team of people who were helping me decode the field in all of sports, doing the system I use, and then compiling the data. I think if we did this so thoroughly for every sport, we would pick the right champion, the right championships, the right finishes, almost every single time. When I miss on my predictions, and I didn't make a prediction for this Masters, I just showed some things that lined up. But when I miss on my predictions, I barely miss, and I always see that it's because I didn't do enough work. My research wasn't thorough enough. So that's the room for improvement. And with a team of people working at this, something we could create, perhaps we need to create an online Google document and find a trustworthy group of people to do the data. But if we want to, make these accomplishments, forecast the sports before they happen with deadly accuracy, it can be done. It just requires greater effort. Remember, I'm just one man. I only have so much time. Plus, I'm trying to keep up with a lot. Plus, I have my own life to tend to as well. My girlfriend always telling me I put way too much time into this. So anyway, Danny Willett, born October 3rd, 1987. A date with 119 numerology. Words such as all-seeing eye equal 119. Star of David 119. The Masters was on CBS after he won CBS with their all-seeing eye symbol interviewing him. Last year during the Super Bowl or during the NFL season, I showed how CBS had their ticker 119 days to the Super Bowl. And they didn't do that for any other day in the NFL season. They only did it with 119 days remaining. Videos you can still watch. The date he's born on, October 3rd, is the 276th day of the year. That 76 stands out again, like in his name, like the word master. The day of his birth is the day that leaves 89 days remaining. This year, the Masters had a field of 89. Also interesting, his son was born 12 days before. And if you read the story about his son's birth, the doctors had forecast the birth of his son for April 10th, the day he ended up winning the Masters. Instead, his son was born early, March 30th. He gave his son the name Zachariah James Willet, name gematria of 89. Very interesting. Very interesting. Has his first son, gets his first green jacket. Possibly signs of the scripting. Remember, I'm saying these men, these athletes that go before us, so often they're part of these Masonic networks that do things by the numbers, plan things by the numbers. I think women have cesarean sections so that their children are born by the numbers. A lot of evidence of this in history. And here's just a recent possible example. From the date he won his green jacket until his birthday is a span of 176 days. I can't help but notice the 76 within that number. They say he's born in Sheffield of the United Kingdom. Sheffield has gematria of 47 and 74. Remember, this year's Masters began on April 7th, which is written 4/7 or 7/4, depending on where you are in the world. The word Masonic 74, as is the word 80. This was the 80th Masters. Now, what I loved is how he wore green on day 4. Have you ever thought about that? How they play 72 holes in 4 days, par 72. A lot of 72 focus there. Anyway, he wore green for the final day of the Masters, where you hope to wear the green jacket. I noticed his sponsor was this Hotels and Resorts Sawana. Sawana has gematria of 67. And he shot a 67 yesterday, 5 under, to win the tournament. How could this be done? How could you shoot the exact score and have it be scripted? The score of significance. I talked about this before. Is it possible that magnets are in the cups that help make those close putts go in the cup, and at the same time, magnets have opposite effect too, possibly push away close putts that would otherwise go in, make them come up short. If you're scripting the outcomes and you need certain winners that are planned for, this is a very possible way that it could be done. My buddy, who I've known since middle school, who I still keep in contact with, who thinks this research is interesting, he thinks I'm out of my mind with the magnets. But then again, he also thought I was out of my mind after September 11th, when I told him that that was a scripted joke. About 5 years later, he figured out the same thing I did. So my buddy, he always takes a little bit longer to come around to things than me, and he has a history of dismissing things that are true as lunacy. My friend, he's more of a normal American than me, but him and we've remained friends for a lot of years, and we like to rattle our ideas off one another. He represents the average American male. He says this idea of magnets, no way. But, I'd ask you to think deeper about it. 67 strokes, green shirt with the 67 sponsor. Remember, Freemasonry also has the gematria of 67. And again, that all-seeing eye, CBS, he has the birth numerology of 119. Before this tournament, he had participated in 22 PGA Tour events. That's interesting because golf has gematria of 22. Jordan Spieth, who he defeated, is 22 this year. This was his 23rd tournament. So he won the Masters in number 23. He came in with 22, this special number in golf. With regards to green as in green jacket, green in Jewish gematria sums to 137, which is the 33rd prime number. I bring that up because his son was born on March 30th. 3/30, 3 plus 30, 33. Very interesting. I really think there's something here. I think the son's birth coming early, the birth being forecast for today, the day he wins the green jacket, or excuse me, for April 10th. Something up with that. These are the things I see in the Masonic rituals by the numbers again and again. I can't say it enough. So some other observations. There were more than what I'm about to mention, but these are just some ones that really stood out. Yesterday, there was a lot of attention to Bernhard Langer, who's age 58, who had a chance to win the Masters. He was up high on the leaderboard. 58, a very special number to the Freemasons. Freemasonry equals 58. Horton Smith, who won the first Masters, won it 58 days before his birthday. This year, 2016, marks 58 years for 1958. I have a feeling that in the world of pro sports, there's going to be a lot of tributes to the year 58, champions from 58 having big seasons this year. Show you what else was interesting about this man. From yesterday, the date of the green jacket ceremony, to his birthday, which is August 27th, is a span of 139 days. And what's Freemasonry in gematria? 58, 67 with the S exception, and also 139 in simple English gematria. This guy, Bernhard, got to finish near the top in the Masters 139 days before his birthday. And again, golf, a game that can be played to the elderly years. It's mostly about form, technique. This man, a professional golfer, fully capable of competing at the top at the age 58. It's not like basketball or baseball or football. And likely, a Masonic man getting his Masonic tribute. Just because you don't win, it's not a high, it's still a high honor just to be in the Masters. And to finish up at the top of the leaderboard, what a great honor. It's not that, all the celebration goes to just number one. To be in the tournament, very impressive. To finish among the top, even more impressive. So I think this man getting a tribute by the numbers, by the Masonic numbers. And let's just go back and look at the first ever Masters in case you missed my preview video. It was known as the Augusta National Invitational at the time. It was first held from March 22nd to March 25th in the year 34. Check this out. Augusta National Invitational equals 322. Think about how it was played on March 22nd. The small way 106, the number of prophecy. Last year, Jordan Spieth, whose name in gematria equals 106, won the Masters 106 days before his 22nd birthday. Again, golf equals 22. March 22nd can also be written 22/3. Masonic in Jewish gematria equals 223. Jordan Alexander Spieth, the big way equals 223. The small way, his name equals 106. The name the synagogue of Satan is the name given to the false Jews who will rule in the end times, according to the Bible. A lot of these numbers taken from the Bible. A lot of connections between Zionism and Masonry. I go into greater detail in the preview video, but check it out. Horton Smith, the first winner of the Masters, name gematria of 159, and Danny Willet. As we said, name gematria of 159, just like Horton Smith. How about it? Tributes. Masonic tributes. Also interesting about Horton Smith, born on a date with numerology of 54, would die at age 54 on a date with a life lesson number of 44. That's the kill number. Georgia, one of two states with a gematria of 44, where the Masters is held, at Augusta in Georgia. Interesting that he dies at age 54 in light of being born on a date with 54 numerology. That date, October 15th, you drop the 0, you're left with 115. Freemasons, the plural, equals 115. Killing in Jewish gematria also equals 115. A lot of Masonic sacrifices in the world of sports. Just did a video on that this morning with the death of Will Smith, the New Orleans Saint who won Super Bowl 44. The name Will Smith equals 44. Oh yes, and again, Horton Smith. He won it 58 days before his birthday. With regards to that 54, yesterday at the beginning of the tournament, they were talking about this. 54 hole leaders. This means the leaders after 3 days of the tournament in history: Ben Hogan, Arnold Palmer, and Jordan Spieth, who collapsed at the end. Notice that of those three, only one won it, Arnold Palmer. The years 58 through 60. There's that number again. And if you missed it, Spieth, on day one, as the defending champion of the Masters, came in and shot a 66, placing him number one on the leaderboard. He was the first golfer to do that since 1966. Think about it. Shooting a 66, first golfer since 1966. How can this be done? Are these guys really this good that they can hit scores when they're told to? Or is there a magnetic advantage? I think the magnets is a very real possibility. Did anyone see Davis Love's hole-in-one yesterday? How did the ball end up going on that path? I didn't understand the spin for the way it kicked out to end up in the hole-in-one. Something very suspicious about that hole-in-one Davis Love got, longtime PGA Tour veteran. Also, Jordan Spieth, he shot a 33 on the front and back on day one for his 66, 33 plus 33, 66. When you write out 33, it has that gematria of 66. And 33 often the number of sacrifice. Spieth, in a way, seems to have been sacrificed for Danny Willett's benefit. You know? Collapsed late with the quadruple bogey. And also, I talked about this in the preview video. The day before the tournament, they have the annual par 3 challenge. There were 9 hole-in-ones in the par 3 challenge. My favorite was that the 80-year-old Gary Player knocked in a hole-in-one just before the 80th Masters. You know. I don't know how else to do it without magnets in the cups. And even though my buddy, and I'm sure millions of other people think that's insane, it's entirely within the realm of possibility. If you want to dismiss it, that's on you. You got to have more imagination in this world to figure out what's truly going on. You can't just accept things as they're presented to you. One last little gematria lesson. Englishman in Pythagorean gematria sums to 57. English, or England, equals 57 as well. Last year on May 7th, they had their elections in the UK. They said their most surprising elections in a century on 5-7 in England. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.